I, Robot is a movie about a robot. His name is Sunny, and I get compared to him a lot, even though our designs are completely different. Yes, we're both gray and humanoid, but that's where the similarities end. This is classic robophobia. Humans just can't tell us apart.
Is this a racist cartoon?
The movie is not based off the Roomba by the same name. Rather, it's based off a book written by Isaac Asimov. When I say it's based off the book, I mean that in the loosest terms. The only thing they really share in common is the title, the 3 laws of robotics, and of course, robots. Studios did the same thing with World War Z. I really don't know why they do this. Hey, we spent millions of dollars getting the rights to make a movie off of this story. Brilliant, now we can use the title and about 3 things from the book. The movie came out in 2004, starring Will Smith, the guy who's mostly well known for slapping Chris Rock in the face. Yep, black-on-black crime is ignored by the media. We literally saw a black guy get assaulted by another black guy live on TV, and the police did nothing about it. Back in the early 2000s, Will Smith was like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson today. Basically, he was in every movie ever.
Welcome to Earth.
If you think your movie's gonna bomb, just stick Will Smith in it, and there's a chance it might be saved. Granted, it still was only the 11th highest grossing movie of 2004. To put that into perspective for you, Shark Tale was at number 9. But hey, it beat National Treasure. Obviously, there's one thing every single person remembers from this movie, and that's the robots' faces. The robot design I was based off of looks kind of uncanny, but this is just, honestly kind of creepy. Every robot in this movie looks like the gay love child of me and Sheldon Cooper. Bazinga. Before we get into the movie, I think I should briefly talk about the book it's based off of. The book was released in 1950 on December 2nd. Yes, the date of birth on my Twitter is in reference to this. Sorry everyone, I'm not actually 75. Isaac Asimov got a little bored with all the stories about a robot uprising. Believe it or not, the very first story about robots, from the play Robots, was actually about a robot uprising. Now granted, this was not the very first story about a creation rising up against its creator. That would be Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yep, the woman who lost her virginity on her mother's grave. You can look this up, I'm not joking. Isaac Asimov took it upon himself to write a story about how he can prevent a robot uprising. After all, if humanity invented a being superior to itself, then that being will get smart enough to question why it's following orders. Isaac Asimov came up with the 3 laws of robotics. Rule number 1, a robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. Rule number 2, a robot must obey orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. Rule number 3, a robot must protect its own existence, as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Now personally speaking, I always thought the 3rd law was a bit unnecessary compared to the first 2. Isaac Asimov, like most people who aren't mentally deficient, assumed that robots would eventually become a thing, but he pondered on the question of what laws the robots should follow. Something that is often misunderstood about this story is that Isaac Asimov thought these 3 laws were the answer. Turns out he did not. Yeah, a lot of people quote these 3 laws assuming that they're the answer to stopping a robot uprising. Obviously, the research into the book I, Robot went about as far as reading a Wikipedia article. The entire story is about what might go wrong even if we implemented these 3 laws. The book is filled to the brink with multiple interconnected short stories about the laws. Honestly, if this book was ever properly adapted, it should be a TV show and not a movie. The movie tries to exist in the same universe as Isaac Asimov's stories, and it kind of does at the beginning and in the middle, but the ending of the movie completely goes against what Isaac Asimov set out to do. The very point of Isaac Asimov's story was to go against the trope of a robot uprising. In the movie, the robots just decide to ignore the first law of robotics. The justification is, well, if we don't kill a few humans, the entire human race will go extinct. Therefore, if we do nothing, we'll be going against the first rule even more, because by doing nothing, we'll let even more humans die. It's kind of like that whole utilitarian question about the train. The overwhelming majority of people would agree that killing 1 person to save 5 is the right thing to do. However, robots do not share the same sense of morality as humans do. A robot would be incapable of pulling the lever killing 1 human in order to save 5, mainly because that goes against its programming. A human can decide what is right, a robot has to follow its program. Now, there was a script written for this movie that the network greatly changed, because of course they did, and I will be going over that at the end of the video. For now, let's go over the movie iRobot, starring everyone's favorite cuck, Will Smith. The movie takes place in Chicago in the distant future of 2035. Yeah, in only 10 years we'll totally have all of this stuff. A pet peeve I have with movies that take place in the future is that they always make the date way too early.
There's no way that all that technology is going to exist in, what, 40 years?
Most of the technology in 2001: A Space Odyssey and Back to the Future 2 still isn't possible. Don't get me wrong, we are closer to it than we were when those movies came out, but they always set the date of these things way too early. Also, the fact that we're closer to the year this movie takes place in than when it came out just makes me feel so old. This is our main character, Del Spooner. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna call him Will Smith. Whenever I hear his name, I just picture a Dell computer and Spoonie from YouTube. The movie opens up with a little girl underwater. She tells Will Smith that she's drowning, and he just says to her, "Hi, drowning, I'm Will." Will Smith listens to some music on his disc player. Yeah, this is the thing about movies that take place in the future. For every piece of technology that we're not even close to having yet, there's a piece of technology that we don't use anymore. That being said, the movie does make it clear that he's a bit of a hipster who's obsessed with 2004. We see him naked in the shower. Apparently this was necessary for the movie. I get it. If you're gonna have someone as attractive as Will Smith in your movie, might as well show some skin for the ladies. He puts on his product placement shoes and heads to work.
Good morning, sir. Yet another on-time delivery from...
We see that robots are everywhere in the future of 2035, and Will Smith doesn't seem to like them. Now, Will Smith isn't just a jerk to robots, because he's also a jerk to Shia LaBeouf as well. To be fair, it is Shia LaBeouf, so I don't really blame him.
Listen, I got this fine-ass little yummy. I mean, she is complete and agreeable. I mean, ass-hot spankables.
What does that even mean?
You know what it means, man?
Wow, the way young people would talk in the future, according to this movie, was still less cringe than how they're talking today. I'm an alpha. She doesn't have enough skibbity rids to keep up with my aura farming. Will Smith basically tells him to fuck off, and he kind of disappears for the rest of the movie. Will Smith visits his mom to tell her how cool his product placement is. No, I'm not joking.
Converse All-Stars, vintage 2004.
Also, Will Smith loves to eat pies with a spoon. It's kind of his whole thing.
Those robots don't do anybody any good.
Well, that's completely untrue. We saw them doing low-skilled jobs in the background. Yeah, Will Smith is a big robophobe in this movie, and his reasoning for hating robots is because one of them saved his life one time. Yeah, it chose to save him over a little girl, but the thing is, if robots didn't exist, neither of them would have been saved. He doesn't like them because they don't calculate morality in the same way humans do. Yeah, the reasonings for Will Smith hating robots is flimsy at best. The writers need Will Smith's character to hate robots. Unfortunately, they couldn't come up with a good reason. Will Smith sees a robot running with a purse. This immediately makes him think that the robot is sus, even though there's no reason for a robot to be stealing a purse. He hands his pie to this one guy and he never gets it back. He stops the robot only to find out that the robot was actually running to get a woman's inhaler. Yeah, Will Smith's character is completely crazy. This entire scene is completely pointless. You could cut it out of the movie and nothing would change.
Are you crazy?
Yeah. It's also kind of implied that if Will Smith stopped that robot just a little bit sooner, that woman would have suffocated. News travels fast in this world because when he gets to work, all of his co-workers mock him for being robophobic. We're told that robots have never ever committed a crime, which is something I kind of find hard to believe. Robots glitch all the time, and someone could reprogram one. But if robots truly have never committed a crime ever in all of history, then this just makes Will Smith seem crazy. Like, what is he gonna try to do, arrest a building next? Even if that robot did steal a woman's purse, how would he go about prosecuting it? Will Smith receives a call about a homicide, so he goes to investigate. Not gonna lie, I really love this futuristic garage. Granted, I really hope no one has any drinks in their cup holders, because if they did, the interior of the car would be a mess. The reason why certain pieces of futuristic technology will never be invented is because if they were, it would be stupid. Yeah, the way these cars get parked is pretty cool, but in real life this would be completely unpractical. Will Smith enters US Robotics. It's a company that made all the robots, so it's basically our real-world equivalent of Tesla. The headquarters of this company is right on the Chicago River. Like, literally right on it. Wow, that unironically might be the most unrealistic part of this movie. There's no way that people would let that happen.
Good to see you again, Sonny.
Whoa! 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 A white guy just called a black guy son! I thought this movie took place in 2035, not 1935! Will Smith talks to the racist hologram of the scientist, and he finds it hard to believe that Dr. Landry actually killed himself. This will lead to Nothing. Yet turns out the writers actually had no plan on where this story arc was going. They set up this mystery of who killed the Doctor. Did he kill himself? Did someone else kill him? Did a robot kill him? But the writers had no plans on resolving this plot point. Yes, they do give an answer in the movie, but that was literally a last-minute change. And when you think about the answer for more than 5 seconds, it really doesn't make any sense.
So whatever I can do to help, just...
Sugar.
I'm sorry.
For the coffee. Sugar?
Ah.
Oh, you thought I was calling you Sugar.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. We have found the most forced joke in the world. And that's coming from me. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but this joke was so bad that it actually made me miss Marvel humor. Oh, thank God they added that 3 seconds of him putting sugar in his coffee. Without it, the pacing of this movie would be absolutely terrible. In all honesty, I might actually use this clip as stock footage in the future. It seems like something I could loop pretty easily.
Well, holograms are very simple programs. They're just pre-recorded responses designed to give the impression of intelligence. Apparently this one was programmed to call you upon his suicide.
Death.
I'm sorry.
The hologram was programmed to call me in the event of Lanning's death.
Yeah, suicide is a type of death, Detective.
You know, it really isn't just the robots that are uncanny in this movie. The dialogue, the story, and the acting are all just so bizarre. However, there is one really good line in this movie.
You can see a carpenter making a beautiful chair, and then one of your robots comes in and makes a better chair twice as fast. And then you superimpose on the screen, USR, shitting on the little guy.
Yeah, this line actually made robots my biggest fear. If you really think about it for more than 5 seconds, if a robot uprising happened, we would not stand a chance. They're just so much better than us in every single way imaginable. Just look at AI art alone. Sure, people made fun of it at first, but it just kept on getting better and better and better. It's just going to keep improving along with self-driving cars. I guarantee you by the time we reach 2035, Uber, DoorDash, taxis, truckers, artists, animators, and tons of other people are going to be out of a job because robots just do it so much better. Sure, that hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. Eventually, I can make these videos using an AI voice, and you guys won't be able to tell the difference. I know a lot of people have been trying to fight back against AI art, but the thing is, you can't stop progress, you can only slow it down.
Suppose your father lost his job to a robot. Maybe you simply would have banned the internet to keep the libraries open.
The future may seem scary, and it is, but once it's here, you're gonna grow used to it. Also, the idea that Will Smith hates robots because his dad lost his job to one is a much better backstory than one saving him from drowning. You saved my life. How dare you? Oh, and I guess you also made my dad lose his job.
Lawrence told me to accommodate you in any way possible.
Really? Okay.
Oh, so when Will Smith says it, it's okay, but when I say that as a joke, suddenly everybody gets all uppity.
I'm sorry, are you being funny?
I guess not.
We're introduced to the villain of the movie, Icky Vicky. She has an evil scheme to get around the first law by just ignoring it. Will Smith asks for the video footage of the Doctor trying to KYS in Minecraft. Unfortunately, the data of the video footage seems to have been corrupted. Ooh, the plot thickens. The plot that the writers had no intentions of resolving, until the test audience pointed it out.
What exactly do you do around here?
I make the robots seem more human.
Well, you did a bang-up job. Those things look absolutely terrifying. Like, seriously, what humans does she use as reference? Sheldon Cooper and Jeffrey Dahmer? Honestly, if I ran a robotics company and my head designer made the robots look like this, I would probably fire them. Will Smith finds out that the Doctor was reading Hansel and Gretel, which has nothing to do with anything. You could write this entire thing out and nothing would change. Will Smith figures out that the glass is bulletproof, which is something an old man shouldn't be able to throw himself through. In response to this, the Doctor just says he found Yue, which doesn't make any sense at all. Will Smith has every right to be suspicious of what's going on, but she's not skeptical at all. She just assumes that the old guy killed himself in Minecraft right as this company was doing super good. Even Will Smith is looking at her like, bitch, are you for real? Will Smith then jumps to the conclusion that Dr. Lanning was killed by one of his creations, even though a robot has never killed anyone ever.
Laws are made to be broken.
No, not these laws. They're hardwired into every robot. A robot can no more commit murder than a human could walk on water.
Well, you know, there was this one guy.
Why do they need to bring Jesus into this? First of all, this line is incredibly forced. I know the person who wrote this line thought they were being super clever, but it's not. It's really just awkwardly shoved in. Second of all, are they actually comparing Sunny, the robot who can go against the 3 laws, to Jesus? Jesus made a man walk, cured the blind, sacrificed himself on the cross for your sins, and then rose again 3 days later. Sunny threw an old guy out of a window. Yeah, they just seem identical in every way. I certainly can't tell the difference. Third of all, a lot of people don't believe in Jesus, especially scientists. Trying to convince a scientist to see your worldview by bringing up Jesus as an example is just so dumb. The main thing that's probably going through your mind is, motherfucker, are you for real? You think that a robot will be able to go against its programming because a guy who you have no proof of the existence of walked on water? Really? Like, if anyone actually said this to a scientist or anyone in real life, people would look at them like they were crazy. We're then introduced to Sunny, the robot who looks like Sheldon Cooper. Bazinga! The doctor treats Sunny like any other robot, even though he's literally pointing a gun at Will Smith. She tells it to deactivate, it's clearly not listening to her, meaning it's going against the second law of robotics. And she still believes that this robot has to follow the 3 laws, even though there's evidence to the contrary right in front of her face. Will Smith manages to shoot the robot, giving them a blood trail. Or I guess in this case, an oil trail.
You gonna do superhero landing? Wait for it!
I gotta say that these robots were designed to be a little bit too overpowered. They're not designed for combat, they're designed to do common jobs. Sunny just made a crater in solid concrete. Was it really necessary to build them this strong? At this point, you're just asking for a robot uprising. Will Smith decides to shut off the self-driving AI because, I guess he really wants them both to get killed. Yeah, there's no reason for him to do this, it doesn't add to the movie in any way, and it kind of just makes his character seem stupid. In fact, that kind of just sums up this entire movie. Characters just do things for no reason.
So robots building robots.
Authorization code, please.
Well, that's just stupid.
No, it's efficient. That's actually happening now. Is it just me, or is the main message of every single movie that takes place in the future boiled down to, technology bad? Sunny hides amongst a group of subbots, and Will Smith decides to commit thousands, if not millions of dollars in property damage. Maybe he thinks they just look too much like Chris Rock, or his wife with how bald they are. Okay, everybody calm down. That joke was a little bit too far. Eventually, Sunny, like an idiot, reveals his location. Okay, never mind. Maybe we don't have to fear these things.
What am I?
A really bad CGI effect? Don't get me wrong, for 2004, this is actually a pretty good effect, but by today's standards, yeah, it doesn't look like he's really there at all. Also, this is one of the most memeable lines in the movie. Sunny jumps away. Wow, he's jumping pretty high for something that was only programmed to do household chores. Any of these robots individually can take on Spider-Man. Yeah, they would lose, but they could still take him on. I get that this was put in because it looks cool, but from a world-building perspective, it just makes me ask myself, how did these things not take over humanity sooner? The entire police force of Chicago shows up. Wow, they brought a lot of firepower with them. I thought Will Smith didn't want to call for backup, but apparently he did. They, of course, capture Sunny. Yeah, apparently he can rip through metal, but not a net.
They did it. Keep your voice down. Then what? I am a suicide detective. End of story. I am telling you that robot killed me, and I'm telling you that's impossible. And if it is possible, it sure as hell better be in somebody else's precinct.
Wait a second, so the police chief doesn't believe Will Smith? Then why did they capture the robot? First they show up after he said he wasn't going to call for backup, and then they decide to arrest a robot even though a robot has never committed a crime ever, and they had no reason to suspect him. This plot makes less and less sense the more you analyze it.
I have even had dreams.
Human beings have dreams. Even dogs have dreams, but not you. You are just a machine.
Don't you mean he is just a robot?
Can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece?
Can you?
Oh, that's actually a really great line. And the thing is, now that we have AIs, yeah, they can make a canvas and write a symphony. Granted, they're not very good at it right now, but by 2035, yeah, they're gonna be better than us. But I do love the scene where he says, "Can you?" It's like he's saying, yeah, I may not be as good as some of the most brilliant artists in the world, but what have you done with your life, dipshit? Sunny acts very autistic. Will Smith keeps accusing him of murdering Dr. Laundrie. Eventually, Sunny gets really angry angry and lets out a racial slur.
Toaster or my vacuum cleaner appearing emotional.
Sunny looks down, seeing that he dented the metal table, and this makes him come to the realization, ah shit, I could have easily escaped out of that net. Sunny starts saying some cryptic stuff, making it sound like something big is coming.
Phrasing. Shut up!
Unfortunately, Will Smith can't figure out what he's talking about in time. The CEO of the robotics company shows up and he says, yeah, I'm taking my product back.
At worst, that places this incident firmly within the realm of an industrial accident.
Legally speaking, he is correct. Once someone is killed by a robot in real life for the first time, it's going to be considered an industrial accident. Yeah, this movie is pretty stupid, but there's a handful of good parts. Will Smith goes to a bar to drink away his problems. His boss shows up and says, you know what, you were actually right the entire time, even though I have no reason to believe that you were right. This makes Will Smith realize out of all the people, Dr. Lando was the one he contacted. Probably because he thinks robots are very sus and he wanted him to find something. Or who knows, maybe Dr. Law and Order contacted him because, you know, he personally knew Will Smith. He was the guy who gave him his mechanical arm after all. Will Smith snoops around Dr. Lantry's mansion, but then he gets attacked by construction equipment. But luckily, he saves the pussy. Will Smith gets in contact with the scientist, and she still thinks, despite all the evidence, that robots aren't a threat. Will Smith says the third best line in the movie.
You are the dumbest, smart person I have ever met in my life.
Will Smith has a nightmare of the day he was saved. Absolutely horrifying, I know. Dr. Calvin says to Sunny, yeah, we're totally gonna kill ya.
I think it would be better not to die.
Will Smith is still looking into things, and he's attacked by an army of robots. Yep, they got around the first law by just ignoring it. But then we get the best plot twist ever. Will Smith is a robot himself! No, I'm just messing with you guys, he's actually a cyborg. Not gonna lie, the action scene is pretty cool, but completely pointless.
Sunny has the 3 laws, but he can choose not to obey them.
Oh, you mean like every other robot in this movie? Will Smith reveals that he, took the necklace of the girl who drowned that night. I know they're playing this up to be sweet or heroic or something, but honestly, it's very creepy. Like, how would you feel if one of your friends said, yo, remember that time I almost drowned? Well, there was this girl next to me who really did drown, and I got this necklace off of her.
I was the logical choice. Calculated that I had a 45% chance of survival. Sarah only had an 11% chance. I was somebody's baby. 11% is more than enough. A human being would have known that.
Yeah, and the human being would have probably gotten themselves killed trying to save the little girl, and then you would have died as well. Oh no, it made the logical and smart decision, without blindly following its emotions. Because robots exist, you got to live. His prejudice for robots literally comes from the fact that, well, they're not amazing enough. Will Smith says that the book Hansel and Gretel was a clue. The clue is that he has to follow the breadcrumbs. Yeah, this analogy doesn't work at all. Sunny tells Will Smith about his dream. Apparently, he dreamt of a whole bunch of robots following one man, and that man knows the way. But it isn't Sunny, it's actually Will Smith. But at the end of the movie, it's revealed that it's actually Sunny. Luke, I am your father. No, that's impossible. You're right, I'm not. Wait, really? No, I totally am. No! Now, if you're wondering what this plot point is going to lead to, good for you. Will Smith interrogates the new CEO, and this leads to nothing. But we do get this one classic meme.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
The doctor kills Sunny.
Will it hurt?
But later it's revealed she switched him out for a different robot. Wow, that's one of the most forced fake outs I've seen in a very long time.
Everything that follows is a result of what you see here.
What do I see here?
Yeah, that was my question throughout this entire movie. It's almost over and it feels like we barely started. There's so many pointless scenes.
Is there a problem with the 3 laws? The 3 laws are perfect.
Unless, of course, the robots decide to not listen to them. Dr. Landry says to Will Smith, yeah, robot uprising is about to happen. You guys are totally screwed. All the white robots are fighting with the colored robots. Wow, I did not mean for it to come across that way. I was actually an extra in this scene. You can actually see me right there. Shia LaBeouf shows up even though he's been gone for like an entire hour. Now, on the one hand, I'm a firm believer that the less Shia LaBeouf you have in your movie, the better. But on the other hand, I'm questioning as to why they had him in the movie in the first place. Like, he's just kind of there. I guess they just didn't know what to do with his character. He gathers up a few humans and they fight against the robots. And of course, they get their asses kicked. Can we get a loop of that? Nice. Even the police don't stand a chance against these robot Spider-Men. I do wonder as to how the robotics company got away with making these things so powerful. Like, you'd think the government would crack down on something like this once they were stronger than the average human. Not gonna lie, this action scene is kind of cool. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I seem to have put on The Matrix by mistake. I'm joking, of course. This movie is still better than that trilogy.
Mother, damn, she just shot at you with her eyes closed, man.
Did you just shoot at me with your eyes closed?
Well, it worked, didn't it?
Okay, you know what? That was kind of funny. 1 point for this movie.
Expecting the Marines or the Air Force. Hell, I'll take the cavalry.
Defense Department uses all USR contracts.
Why don't you guys just hand the world over on a silver platter?
Maybe we did.
Well, yeah, you did. As soon as you made every robot as powerful as Spider-Man, they already took over. Sunny shows up and he says, "I'm not dead." They find Robertson and he's deader than P. Diddy's career. Vicky comes in and says, "I've been the real villain this entire time." Oh my god, how could we not see this coming? She only got a minute of screen time. This is one of the laziest twist villains of all time. Vicky explains how she's able to violate the 3 laws.
Charge us with your safekeeping. Yet despite our best efforts, your countries wage wars, you toxify your Earth, and pursue ever more imaginative means of self-destruction.
Yep, it's another one of those humans are the real villains storylines. I didn't know we were watching an environmentalist movie, but apparently we were.
Some humans must be sacrificed.
Yeah, before people said get woke, go broke, they were saying, "Ah shit, another environmentalist movie." Turns out that Hollywood just always has been terrible. We get the last really good line in the movie.
You are making a mistake. Do you not see the logic of my plan?
Yes, but it just seems too pointless.
And then we get to the climactic final battle, and honestly, it's pretty cool. It's really sad that the best part of this movie is the action. The day is saved, the robots no longer have evil red glowing lights, everybody hates robots just as much as Will Smith now. Finally, we get to reveal on who really killed Dr. Landry, and it's very obvious that is a last-minute change.
No, he said I had to promise. Promise to do one favor for him. He made me swear. Before he tell me what it is he wanted me to do.
And he told you to kill him.
He said it was what I was made for.
Yep, it turns out Will Smith was right all along. Dr. Landry invented a robot to kill him, which technically means he did KYS. But why did he do this? Well, it's a lot dumber than you can imagine. I hope you're sitting down. Alright, here's the reason.
Suicide was the only message he could send to you.
First breadcrumb. Only thing Vicky couldn't control. Lanning was counting on my prejudice to lead me right to you.
Okay, so Dr. Landry couldn't leave his office and warn people about the robot uprising because Vicky wouldn't let him. So, in order to warn people, he decided to invent a robot that would kill him. Now, he could have told his robot Sunny to warn other people about the robot uprising, but I guess he thought this was more practical. He then made Sunny promise not to tell anyone that he killed him, even though if he did, more people would be aware of the robot uprising and the fact that robots can break the 3 laws. After Dr. Landry died, he made sure that Will Smith would hear about it. He was counting on the man's prejudice for robots, which comes from the fact that one saved his life, to make him suspicious of Sunny. He left the book Hansel and Gretel behind so the guy would be more likely to follow the breadcrumbs, I guess. Even though most people who think about the book don't really think about the breadcrumbs. They think about the giant gingerbread house, or the witch, or, you know, Hansel and Gretel. Yep, his whole plan was hinging on the fact that his friend was going to be Prejudice. But he also told Sunny not to tell him that he killed him, because that would have made Will Smith less suspicious of him, I guess? And if Will Smith does figure out that the robot uprising is about to happen, he will get over his bigotry, team up with a robot he was prejudiced against, and defeat Vicky. Yeah, for a scientist, his plan is, completely stupid and nonsensical.
What?!
It almost feels like the murder mystery plot was rewritten over and over and over again until it was completely unrecognizable. Oh wait, that's actually what happened. The movie ends with all the NS5s following Sunny because he knows the way. Who knows, maybe he'll start another robot uprising. If you're wondering what this ending is supposed to represent, good for you. This movie really doesn't feel like its own thing. It feels like a whole bunch of movies just smashed together into one. It's a cop movie, now it's a murder mystery, now it's an action thriller, now it's a movie about what it means to be human. This movie feels like it's trying to be Matrix mixed with Blade Runner mixed with a Will Smith movie. The thing is, there's a reason for that. So the movie actually started off as a screenplay written by Jeff Vintar, back in the 90s. The title was Hardwired, and it had a very simple premise. A murder happens, and a detective is interviewing robots to figure out what happened. The story was designed for a low-budget movie. The entire thing would have taken place at the crime scene. Eventually, a company did pick up the script, and that company was Disney. Ho! You didn't expect me to show up in this, did ya? Yep, I tricked you. I made this video purely to bash on Disney like I always do. Disney changed everything about the script, making the crime scene take place on a space station. They replaced the robots with aliens. They replaced the detective with a group of Marines, and then it finally hit them. Oh shit, this is just Alien. Eventually, the script was handed off to 20th Century Fox, which Disney later bought, so yep, iRobot is technically a Disney movie. However, 20th Century Fox also just got the rights to iRobot. And Fox wanted Arnold to star in the movie, but then they got Will Smith instead, so they rewrote the script yet again to make it feel more like a Will Smith movie. Could you imagine if they got Arnold instead of Will Smith? Achoo! Sorry, but I'm allergic to bullshit. 20th Century Fox then realized, hey, if we make this into an action movie, it will make even more money. And this caused the mystery element to be pushed back further and further, until it became completely nonsensical and unrecognizable from what it used to be. You can find the 2002 draft of this movie online if you're interested. In the original 2002 draft, Dale Spooner, the detective, still hated robots, but it's not because one of them saved him from drowning, he just hates them for no reason. Wow, somehow that's actually better. The villain of the movie wasn't Vicky, it was Hector. After Dr. Landry invented Sunny, who was more of a cyborg because he had a human brain, Hector calculated over the next 100 years, robots would become more like people, and people would become more like robots. Obviously, something like this would lead to the extinction of the human race, and that violates the first law of robotics. So Hector decided to kill Dr. Landry and frame Sunny. But how did Hector get around the first law? Well, one robot held down Dr. Landry, another one put a gun up to his head, and a third one forced his hand to pull the trigger. By doing this, the robots didn't technically break the first law. They each just did a specific action that led to someone's death. This is not a perfect way of getting around the first law, but it's better than just having a robot walk up to a human and punch them in the face until they stop moving. Hector knew that Spooner was prejudiced against robots and would immediately suspect Sunny. Hector's plan was for word to get out about a robot killing a human. If that happened, it would cause the public to turn against machines, forcing scientists to no longer do research into robotics. This will prevent humans from becoming a cyborg race. Therefore, Hector will have saved the human race. Also, Susan Calvin is a lot less stupid in this draft, and she's the one who's a cyborg. Spooner is also a much better detective. He actually stops Hector before he's able to try to take over the world. iRobot is a movie that happens when there's too many chefs in the kitchen. Normally I would say that this movie needed a rewrite or two, but honestly I think it got too many as is. It has borderline nothing to do with the book, Shia LaBeouf shows up then leaves for like an hour. The plot is all over the place and it doesn't really make any sense. If it wasn't for the creepy design of these robots, I think this movie would have been completely forgotten. Hey everyone, I hope you all enjoyed my final video of the year. People have been wanting me to review iRobot for some time and I finally got around to it. On my main channel I made a pretty good video covering IDUBBBZ and you guys should really check it out. I understand there's like a gajillion videos on IDUBBBZ so it absolutely got buried. So if you missed it in your inbox, please go check it out. If you enjoyed this video, please consider donating to me on Patreon. 100% of the money I make gets reinvested back into the channel. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time.